Hello friends, happy Sunday morning, or as always, whatever day or whatever time of day you happen to be watching at this week's Sunday school. I'm just glad you're here and I'm glad you're watching and I'm glad you have chosen to spend a little bit of your time this week with me and with us at St. Francis. So as always, thank you for watching. I hope you all have had really great weeks. And now we get to spend a little bit of time together in virtual Sunday school, learning a little more about Jesus and his life and all of the really cool stuff that comes with that. So, speaking of all of that, we just finished our Lenten series about where our hearts are and talking about our hearts. So Lent is over, you guys. Easter season is here. He is risen, and that is so exciting. And I don't know if y'all remember, I hope you remember, but before we started our Lenten series, we were working on our compassion series, right? And we were talking about examples of compassion being shown in the Old Testament. So now that we've walked through Lent together, and now that we are in the Easter season, now we are going to redirect our attention and we are going to look at some really awesome examples of compassion in the New Testament. So in like the second part of the Bible. And I am really excited to go over some of these stories with y'all. A lot of these stories involve our friend Jesus and a lot of the awesome stuff he did while he was on earth as in a human form with us. And so I'm really excited to share some of these stories. Some of them might sound familiar to y'all. Some of them might sound brand new. Either way, I'm just excited to get to share these stories with you because they're all so good. So we are back in our compassion series. We are learning, what does it mean to be compassionate people and how can we show compassion to other people on a regular basis. Now I know we always start Sunday school with a little bit of movement time, but this week's movement time is going to look a little bit different. So the story that we are going to talk about in our Sunday school lesson today tells of Jesus noticing people. Jesus was really starting to pay attention to people that were on earth. He was taking the time to really see people for who they were and what they were going through. And he really wanted to take the time to understand what people needed from him. So today's activity, we are going to invite y'all to play what I call the mirroring game. So the way we are going to do this is I invite you guys to stand up with me, and basically I'm going to make a few movements and I want you to try to mirror what those movements are. So when I say mirror, like if I raise this hand and go like this and wave, I want you to raise the same hand and try to mirror me waving. So basically you are acting like my mirror. So I'm just gonna do a few movements and I want you guys to try to mirror what I'm doing, okay? So try to mirror, we'll do the same example again. So mirror my hand doing this, and then I'm gonna do this with the other hand. And then, what's another movement? Do you guys ever just bob your head around? So do this with me, mirror me doing this. We're just bobbing around. Maybe mirror me doing this, a really good arm stretch. My hands are folded, sorry you can't see them above my head. I wonder if you could mirror me doing this. And then I'm gonna take my arms back down. What's a funny movement? Can you guys mirror me doing this? Maybe mirror me doing this. Maybe mirror me going like this. And making a funny face. Can you guys mirror me doing that? Good job, you guys. I'm sure you did a wonderful job of being my mirror. So, as we're talking about mirroring people, I have a couple questions I want y'all to think about. So what was it like to mirror a leader? Was it kind of confusing? Were you wondering what move I was gonna do next? And then I want you to think about, what was the most helpful thing for y'all being able to mirror the leader really well? So I kind of narrated my movements a little bit. Was that the most helpful? Was it paying really close attention to me? Was that the most helpful thing in helping you be my mirror? Was it staring at me and figuring out exactly what I was trying to do next? Was that helpful being my mirror? And then the last question is, what was the most challenging about trying to mirror me? Was it that you weren't sure what I was going to do next? Was it maybe that we're not in person together, so it was a little hard to mirror a screen? I'm wondering what was the most challenging thing about trying to be my mirror. So guys, the reason I chose the mirroring game as our movement activity today is that I want y'all to start kind of understanding and seeing that it's really helpful in our lives, just like in the mirror game, to pay attention to the people around us and how it can help us understand people better, especially if somebody is having a hard time. Sometimes we don't notice that unless we're paying really close attention to someone, right? So I want you guys to sit back down. I invite you to sit back down, and we are going to jump into today's lesson. So there's actually a story in the Bible about a time when Jesus needed to slow down in order to notice people around him, and he was able to help people in the ways they needed because he was slowing down enough to pay attention to the needs of the people around him. So I am going to read today's Bible story. It is Matthew 9, verses 35 through 38. So I'm going to read this story, and then we are going to imagine and talk through some questions about it together, okay? So Matthew 9, 35 through 38 says, "Then Jesus traveled all around the cities and villages. He taught in their synagogues. He proclaimed the good news of the kingdom. Jesus cured every disease, every sickness. When he saw all the people, he had compassion for them, because they were harassed and helpless people. They seemed to Jesus like sheep that didn't have a shepherd. Then Jesus says to his disciples, 'There is a lot of work to be done, but not a lot of people to do the work. Pray for the people to do the work that needs doing.'" So guys, again, now that we are back in our compassion series, we get to go back to using our story cards on our storyboard. So we are going to go through these story cards together, and I want y'all to tell me what order things happened, and we're going to put the order of these events together, or together in the correct order together. And we'll see if that kind of helps the story make a little more sense. So the story cards I have say, Jesus asks his disciples to pray for more to join them in the work they're doing. The next one says, Jesus makes his way around all the land, teaching, preaching, and healing. And this one says, Jesus looks at the people he encounters and has compassion on them. So based on the story I just read to y'all, I'm wondering if we can put these story cards in the right order. Okay, let's work on this together. So let's go to this one. Jesus makes his way around the land, teaching, preaching, and healing. So in Matthew 9, 35 through 38, it kind of sounds like this might be what happens in the middle, right? This isn't the beginning, this isn't the end of the story. This kind of seems like what he was doing, right? In the middle of the story, Jesus was making his way around the land, teaching and preaching and healing people. So I think let's try to make this the middle story card. I think that might be where this one goes. Good job, you guys. So my next story card says, Jesus looks at the people he encounters and has compassion on them. So this kind of, where do you guys think this one would go on our storyboard? Would this go as the first card or the last card? Thinking about Matthew 9 that we just read together. Jesus looks at the people he encounters and has compassion on them. So I think that's kind of what was happening in the beginning of the story, right? Like that's what made him realize he needed to go teach and pray and heal for people, was because he was seeing these people that were harassed and helpless back in their time, and he wanted to help them. So I think this is the first story card. So good job, you guys. We are putting this story together. Awesome. So we only have one story card left, and it says, Jesus asks his disciples to pray for more to join them in their work. I'm pretty sure that's how Matthew 9:35 through 38 ended, right? Jesus told his disciples basically like, there's a lot of work we need to do and we need more people to do it, so pray that those people come. So I think this is the ending of today's story. So let's read this together and see if it makes sense and see if we got the story right, okay? So it says, Jesus looks at the people he encounters and has compassion on them. Jesus makes his way around the land, teaching, preaching, and healing. And the third one says, Jesus asks his disciples to pray for more to join them in their work. I think that's the correct order, you guys. We did it. We put the story together piece by piece. Good job, y'all. Couldn't have done it without your help, so thank you. So now that we are kind of talking about the story of Jesus, what Jesus really did while he was here on earth, right? He showed compassion. He paid attention to the needs of the people in his community, and he wanted to do something about all of those needs. He showed compassion. He healed people. He taught people things that they didn't know, and he just worked with people and spent time with people. So now that we know that, I want us to use our imagination to maybe think about a few of these questions together. So I'm wondering, Jesus's first emotion in seeing people in need was compassion, right? That word we keep coming back to, compassion. So how do you think the disciples felt? So all of Jesus's 12 best friends that were traveling with him, how do you think the disciples felt? And when they were seeing people with these needs, the same people that Jesus was seeing, I would imagine that they maybe felt compassion for them too. They felt bad for these people. Maybe some of the disciples felt like, maybe some of them felt like they could relate to some of these people and where they were at in their lives, right? Maybe some of the disciples didn't get the big deal. Maybe the disciples kind of felt like, this is how we were told the world works, so this is how we think it works. What's the problem? So the disciples could have been feeling all kinds of different ways, because remember, they weren't Jesus. They were human, and Jesus was still teaching them and still has a lot to teach them at that point in the story. So another question I'm wondering about is, what do you think sheep without a shepherd means to you? So remember how Jesus said that when he saw the people and he had compassion on the people he was seeing, he felt like it looked like a lot of people, like these people looked like sheep that didn't have a shepherd. So what do you guys think that means? Sheep without a shepherd. Well, if you know some basics about farm life, sheep need someone to follow. Sheep love to have kind of like a pack leader. So they have a shepherd or a farmer or somebody that kind of guides them and tells them what to do. So if you're seeing sheep without a shepherd, what does that mean to you? If Jesus thought these people looked like sheep without a shepherd, then he probably thought these people look lost, right? These people look like they don't have someone leading them to the things that they were created for. So sheep without a shepherd kind of means that these people were just kind of wandering around and not really living the lives that they were created to live. And they were sad and confused, and they didn't have a leader they felt like they could trust. They didn't feel like they had a shepherd. So maybe that's what Jesus turns out to be for them. I don't know. We got more stories to talk about. So then that leads me to my next question. How has Jesus been a shepherd for you in your life? So imagine that we are all sheep and we just need a really solid leader. We need a good shepherd. So I'm wondering if any of you can think about how Jesus has kind of been a shepherd in your life. I can for sure think about how Jesus has been a shepherd in my life. I mean, I live my life kind of based on how Jesus told me to live my life, right? So that alone, he's kind of a shepherd for a lot of my life, right? I make decisions and I try. I'm not perfect at it. I'm human, but I do my best to kind of live a life that aligns with Jesus's teachings. So he's kind of a big shepherd for this sheep, I'll tell you that much. So I'm wondering if you guys can think about a time in your life where you felt like Jesus really was your shepherd. Maybe you feel that way right now. Maybe you felt that way really strongly a year or two ago when something happened. I want you to think about it. How has Jesus been a shepherd? So how has Jesus been a good leader or a good role model or a good example in your life? And then I want you to think back on a time when you saw somebody who needed help. And how did that make you feel, seeing someone that needed help? What did you do? Did you help them? Did you maybe not help them because you weren't sure what to do? No judgment here. Any answer is fine. What did you do when you saw a person that needed help? And then I want you to imagine what you could maybe do differently next time, now that we're talking more about compassion, more about what Jesus would have done. I wonder if you can think about a way that you would maybe handle that situation differently if you had a chance to redo it. Or would you handle anything differently? Do you feel like you handled the situation as well as you could? And the last question for us today is, can you imagine a few ways or people to whom you could be a shepherd to this week? So what are some ways that you could kind of set a good example for some people in your life this week? Maybe pick like 3 people, and what are ways you could be a good shepherd for those people? So guys, I don't love to just stand here and teach at you guys. I like to give you guys examples of ways you can use what we learned today in your lives, and that's what we call our compassion in action homework. So this week's compassion in action homework, I want you guys to think about let's think of an example of like a modern day shepherd. So, I think first responders, right? Especially after the past year or two, we've had first responders. So like the people that come in the ambulance and doctors and EMTs and people like that. First responders and firefighters are really some modern day shepherds, right? They're people who come with protection and aid in any kind of daily crisis and sometimes kind of dangerous situations. So I am wondering if any of you this week would like to create and decorate a thank you sign with encouraging messages for any first responders. And then you can deliver those signs maybe to a local fire station. Maybe if the hospital isn't very far from where you live, you could maybe drop it off at the hospital or another first responder office. Guys, there might even be members of our parish that are first responders, maybe some parents that are first responders. So if you want to create a sign and connect that sign to a first responder that goes specifically to St. Francis, let me know and I will connect you all and make sure that they get your thank you sign. But yeah, that is this week's Compassion in Action homework. I think we should take a moment to really thank some modern day shepherds that show up for us every day in our lives. And those really right now include first responders and doctors and firefighters and people that, save lives every day just because they know it needs to be done. That is a great example of a modern day shepherd. They're meeting a need because it needs to be met. So all that being said, I'm going to close us in prayer, and then we're going to talk about a couple things coming up that I'd like for y'all to know about. So y'all, let's pray together to close out today's Sunday school lesson. Dear God, thank you for our story today of Jesus acting like a shepherd, protecting and guiding those in need. Thank you for acting as a shepherd in our lives. Give us courage and compassion to protect and guide others that we get to know who may need our help too. Amen. Great job, you guys. Thank you for using your very best listening ears today to hear about modern day shepherds and Jesus, our ultimate really cool shepherd, and how we can learn to be shepherds ourselves in everyday life. Because remember, the end of the story, Jesus tells his disciples, hey, we need to pray for more people that just want to help other people. So maybe we could be an answer to Jesus's prayer from thousands of years ago. How cool would that be? It'd be really cool, I'll just tell you. So What I want you guys to know is the family pages got sent out this morning, so y'all have these story cards at your house through the email that was sent out. So if you want to put this story together yourselves or color the story images to make it feel more real life to you, go ahead and do that. I invite you to do that. And then another thing that was included this morning is this week's coloring page. So it just has a little snippet of a verse. It says, "He was moved with compassion because they were like sheep without a shepherd." And it's a cute little picture of a sheep. And I would love for you guys to color it and see what you guys can come up with. And as always, if you don't have a printer at home and you're not able to print this coloring sheet specifically, that is no excuse not to get creative with me this week. So if you do not have this specific coloring page, you could 100% still draw a sheep and color it and let me know what you think a sheep looks like. Or maybe you could draw a bunch of sheep and draw a shepherd and imagine what their shepherd could look like. Maybe that shepherd looks like you. Maybe that shepherd looks like your parents. Maybe it looks like Jesus. I want you to be a little extra creative and draw a sheep and then draw who you imagine a shepherd for that sheep could be. Good homework assignment. And if you like what you draw and you come up with, send me a picture. Let me see it. I love to see what you guys are doing. Just because we are socially distanced through a screen right now doesn't mean I don't want to see what you guys are up to. I'm still very interested. And then another announcement that I wanted to make for y'all is, yes, we are going to be continuing with virtual Sunday school. So Sunday school being uploaded onto YouTube each week. But something exciting that I'm really ready to do, and I can't wait to hopefully see some of y'all at, is we are going to try in-person Sunday school and see if y'all like it, see what the dynamic kind of looks like. And really, I would just love to get a lot of y'all back on campus because I miss you. And it's been like a year since I've seen some of y'all in person, and I'm ready to see you. So we are going to be doing in-person Sunday school on the last Sunday of this month and the last Sunday of next month. So we're going to try it twice before summer begins. So if you would like to come to in-person Sunday school and your family feels ready to try in-person Sunday school, it is a family decision. So if your family feels ready to try in-person Sunday school, then just remind your parents or your family member that there's going to be a sign-up sheet, because we have to have kids sign up for it. There's going to be a sign-up sheet going out that week before the last Sunday of the month. And if you want to come to in-person Sunday school, all your parent has to do is sign you up, and then I'll know you'll be here and I'll be ready for you on Sunday morning. So just remember, if you want to try in-person Sunday school, we are going to be giving it a try on the last Sunday of this month and next month. I cannot wait to hopefully see some of you there. I'm so excited to get to start seeing some of y'all again. So all that being said, thank you for watching Sunday School today. I love y'all so much. I miss y'all so much. I'm so excited to slowly start seeing some of y'all back on church campus again. In the meantime, until I see you in person, I hope you have wonderful weeks. I hope you remember how to be modern day shepherds out there in the world during this week. Think of the ways that you could shepherd or guide or protect the people that you care about. And I hope you are good for your families because they need you to be, and I hope you make good choices because I know that you all are capable of making really good choices. So again, I love y'all. I miss you. Have a great week. And as always, if I said anything today that sparked a question or there's something you want to talk about, your parents and your families have my contact information. So please reach out at any time and I will answer whatever question, or I will listen to whatever story you want to share because I just miss you guys so much. So please reach out anytime you need me. I am here. So yeah, I love y'all and I'll see you next Sunday for our next Sunday school video. Have a great week. Bye.